Types of business organizations. For more videos like this one, please visit www.sensbusiness.co.uk. Different types of organizations have different advantages and disadvantages. These must be considered when an owner tries to decide on which form their organization should take. In business, there are different types of organizations categorized by different types of ownership. These include private sector, public sector, and the third sector. These different categories of ownership make up what we call the sectors of the economy. Private sector. Private sector organizations are owned by individuals. These businesses are driven by profit. The profit from private sector organizations benefit the owners, shareholders, and investors. They are financed by private money from shareholders and by bank loans. Supermarkets operate in the private sector. Public sector. Public sector organizations are owned by the government. They provide goods and services for the benefit of the community. They are run by the government and they operate with money raised from taxes. Hospitals operate in the public sector. Third sector. Third sector organizations are owned and run voluntarily by trustees. These organizations are not run by the need to make profit, but by the need to help the community. They operate with money from donations and gifts. Any profits are reinvested in the organization. Third sector organizations can be run as a social enterprise. Charities operate in the third sector. Different types of private sector businesses. The private sector has different types of business ownership. The most common ones are sole traders, partnerships, and private limited companies. Sole trader. A sole trader is a business owned by one person. They are usually small in size. Hairdressers, butchers, and electricians often operate as sole traders. Sole traders rely on their own savings, bank loans, or loans from friends and family to finance their business. Hairdressers often operate as sole traders. Advantages. Sole traders get to keep all the profit they make from themselves. They also get to run the business as they see fit, making all the key decisions by themselves. Starting up as a sole trader is legally the easiest of all types of ownerships. It has less rules and regulations than other types of organizations. Disadvantages. Sole trader has to take on all the risks of starting their own business and have the disadvantage of unlimited liability. A sole trader is liable for the organization's debt. This means that the person's assets such as a car or house are at a risk of being sold to pay off business debts. Sole traders tend to work long hours. This is because they have to shoulder the full burden of responsibility for their business. To keep labor costs to a minimum, they will often avoid delegation tasks such as purchasing or advertising to others, preferring to save money by doing the work themselves. Sole traders can only raise limited finance. They will receive money from family and friends or have to use their own savings. They might get a bank loan, but only if the bank is convinced that the sole trader's business plan will work. So in short, a sole trader business is easy to set up. Sole trader retains all profit for him or herself, and sole trader makes all the decisions. But it can be difficult to set up, has unlimited liability, and has heavy workload. Partnerships. Partnerships can have a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 20 partners. Lawyers, estate agents, doctors, and dental practices often operate as partnerships. A partnership is a business set up by the deed of a partnership document. Dentists often operate in partnerships. The deed of partnership document sets out the terms of the partnership. For example, it states how much money each partner invested in the partnership and what role each partner will have in the partnership. A partner who invests but is not involved in the day-to-day running of a partnership is called a sleeping partner. Advantages. Partnerships can raise more finances than sole traders. Banks are more likely to lend money to an organization that has many partners than to a sole trader. Different partners can bring different skills to a business. For example, a partnership running a garage might have some partners who are excellent mechanics, while other partners may have excellent sales skills. Partners can share the workload and responsibility of the business between them. In comparison, a sole trader has no one with whom to share the workload and responsibilities. Disadvantages. Partners may disagree and argue about the future direction of the business. In contrast, a sole trader has the advantage of being the only decision maker. Any profit made is shared between 2 to 20 people. A sole trader has the advantage of receiving all profit. Like sole traders, partnerships have unlimited liability. All partners have the worry of being liable for any business debt the partnership has. So in short, more equity available to finance the business, different partners can bring different skills and workload is shared. However, partnership has unlimited liability, the profit is shared between the partners, and partners may not always agree on decisions for the business. Limited companies. Companies often need to grow larger than the maximum number of 20 partners allowed in a partnership. One way of doing this is to become a limited company. Limited companies have limited liability, meaning an investor only loses the initial stake if the company goes bust. Advantages. Limited companies are owned by shareholders, and quite often these shareholders are supportive family members. Profits are only shared between the shareholders, they receive this as a dividend. Limited companies are able to raise money by borrowing and through the share issue of ordinary shares. If a company fails, the investor in a limited company are protected by the rules of limited liability. Disadvantages. Limited companies must be registered with the Registrar of Companies. The legal setup costs are expensive. Limited companies must use documents called Memorandum of Association and Articles of Association. Because profits are only shared with shareholders, it is harder to motivate and control workers who do not hold the shares. So in short, the owner can retain the control, more able to raise money, and it has limited liability. However, it must be registered with the Registrar of Companies, it has high setup costs for legal and administrative purposes, and it's harder to motivate and control the workers. Public sector. The public sector means the organizations run by government that exist to provide a service for the population and communities. Money to pay for these is raised through a variety of taxes like income tax, national insurance, VAT, air passenger duty, and fuel duty. NHS Scotland operates in the public sector. Once this tax is collected, it is allocated to various government budgets. There are 3 different levels of government in Scotland: the UK government, the Scottish government, and the local government. The UK and Scottish governments control different parts of the public sector. UK government. The UK government is based in Westminster. Matters which are run by the UK government rather than by the Scottish government are called reserved matters. These include economic policies, defence, and international relations. The UK government also oversees the running of organisations which we call public corporations. These organisations are found by an Act of Parliament and are usually funded by taxpayers. The BBC is an example of a public corporation. It was founded by the 1922 Broadcasting Act and is funded by the TV licence fee. It is not directly run by the UK government. Scottish government. The Scottish government is based in Holyrood, is responsible for devolved matters. These include health, education, police, and transport. The Scottish government has some limited income tax raising powers and receives a block grant from the UK government. The Scottish government sets the budget for running Scotland. Scottish local government. Scottish local government is made up of 32 local authorities, often referred to as councils. They are allocated budgets by the Scottish government and use these funds to run many local services. These include housing, libraries, schools, and bin collection and recycling. Third sector. The third sector is not about making a profit, but rather making a difference to the society. Third sector organizations are categorized into charities and community groups, and social enterprises. Charity. A charity is an organization set up for a specific cause. Charities receive grants from many fundraising organizations, such as the National Lottery. Money is also raised for them by sales in charity shops and through public donations. All money goes to the help of a specific cause or to pay for the operation and running of the charity. Examples of charities are Oxfam, Save the Children, and Cancer Research UK. Community groups. Community groups exist to provide a service for people. They are non-profit making, and all of the profit goes back into the organization to ensure it can keep running. Examples of non-profit organizations are rugby clubs and golf clubs. Social enterprise. A social enterprise is an organization that exists with a clear goal to help the community but runs the organization like a business. All profits are reinvested back into the organization. Examples of social enterprises include the Street Soccer Scotland, which is a non-profit social enterprise. It delivers a range of football-related services to socially disadvantaged adults and young people across Scotland. Social Bite is a chain of retail stores and catering concessions in Scotland. It employs a quarter of its workforce from a homeless background. Enterprising skills and qualities that help business development. An entrepreneur is a person who brings together the factors of production. Entrepreneurs usually have to display the following skills: identifying a gap in the market, being able to spot where the product or service will fit and make a profit, risk-taking. All business startups come up with an element of risk. Many people do not wish to take that gamble. Communication. Entrepreneurs have to be able to talk and present their ideas to many different stakeholders. These would include employees, banks, investors, and customers. Determination. They have to be resilient and willing to keep going in order to turn their idea into a real product. Marketing. Entrepreneurs have to be able to identify the right product, the right price, the right place, and the right promotions to offer if they are to be successful. Decision making. They have to be decisive and make many key decisions such as where to locate their business and who to employ. Leadership. Entrepreneurs are not followers. They are the innovators who can take an idea and develop it. They also have to inspire other people to work and stay with them. We have prepared 10 questions for you to practice. Visit the link below to test yourself. Thank you for watching. For more videos like this one, please visit www.sensbusiness.co.uk.